In a world often ruled by noise, we turn to nature, to the places where silence is not emptiness, but a canvas on which the earth paints its purest songs. Here, among emerald forests and sleeping mountains, water is born, not with a cry, but with a whisper. It begins as a trickle, from melting snow on high peaks, from hidden springs deep beneath the earth, from clouds that kiss the treetops and fall as gentle rain. And then, that whisper becomes a voice. A stream laughing through mossy rocks, a river meandering through valleys until it reaches the edge, the place where the earth seems to fall. And there, the water leaps, not in fear, but in freedom. A waterfall is not just a river's descent. It is a moment of wild surrender, an act of beauty without apology. Each fall has its own soul. Some roar like thunder, shaking the very air. Others murmur like lullabies, gentler than a dream. Niagara thunders with a power that humbles the sky. Its endless plunge a reminder of the force that shapes continents. Iguazu sings in many voices, hundreds of cascades weaving together like a chorus of rain. Rainbows dance in its spray, as if the heavens themselves are watching in awe. Victoria Falls, the smoke that thunders. Falls not only with water, but with reverence. Its mist rises like a sacred veil, shrouding the jungle in mystery and magic. But not all waterfalls are giants. Some are shy, hidden deep in woodland folds, trickling gently over rocks worn smooth by time. In their quiet grace, we find peace. In their stillness, wisdom. The sound of falling water calms the anxious mind. It resets the rhythm of the heart. It reminds us that there is beauty in release, that letting go can be the most elegant of acts. Every drop that falls carries a memory of mountain winds, of sunlit mornings, of the vast, endless cycle of life. Water falls, yes. But then, it gathers. It joins the stream again, carving through canyons, feeding the soil, waking roots, blooming flowers, nourishing all that breathes and grows. And one day, it rises. Lifted by the warmth of the sun, it becomes cloud again and begins its sacred journey anew. At dawn, waterfalls shimmer like molten silver. Mist drifts through the air like breath, and birds greet the rising light with song. By midday, the falls blaze under golden sun. Crystals of water catch the light like diamonds. At dusk, shadows deepen. The falls soften their voice, and the world slows with them. By night, under moonlight, they become ghosts of light and sound, whispering dreams to the stars above. To stand before a waterfall is to witness a moment older than time. No words are needed, just presence, just breath. In that moment, we are not separate from nature. We are part of its rhythm, its story. There are waterfalls in every corner of the earth, from the icy cliffs of Iceland to the volcanic lands of Hawaii to the lush green hills of India and the Andes. Each one tells the same story, yet in its own language. The language of motion, of change, of surrender. And in that surrender, we find power. So let the waterfall be your teacher. Let it remind you that falling is not always failure. Sometimes it's flight. Let it teach you that even the most powerful things are made of softness, of patience, of persistence. Let it whisper to your soul that you too are part of this great flowing world, this sacred dance of water and sky, stone and root, sound and silence. And when the noise of life grows too loud, return here, to the edge of stillness where the water falls and everything else fades away. This is where peace begins. This is the voice of the earth. This is the waterfall's gift. Some falls descend in thunder, mighty rivers crashing from cliffs, shaking the earth, filling valleys with their roar. Others whisper, flowing like silk down mossy stones, caressing the earth instead of carving it. There is no one way to fall. And in that, there is wisdom. In the suspended moment, when water leaves the edge but has not yet touched the ground, there is freedom. There is flight. That is the waterfall's gift to us. A reminder that letting go is not the end. It is the beginning of movement, of transformation, of becoming something new. We are drawn to waterfalls not just for their beauty, but for what they awaken in us. They stir something ancient, something wild. They remind us that we too are made of water, of flow, of feeling, of tides and tears. They call to the parts of us that long to leap, to trust the fall, and find strength in surrender. It's endless flowing poetry. Around every waterfall, life gathers. The air is thick with mist and magic. Leaves glisten. Birds call. The earth is alive with growth. The fall does not destroy, it nourishes. It shapes valleys, feeds forests, carves paths that become rivers and lakes. In falling, it creates. No two waterfalls are the same, and even the same fall is never the same twice. In spring, it swells with snowmelt, fierce and untamed. In summer, it dances beneath golden light. In autumn, it sings softer, framed in crimson leaves. In winter, it freezes mid-motion, a sculpture of silence, stillness captured in crystal form. Even in stillness, the waterfall speaks. At dawn, waterfalls shimmer like silver dreams. Their mist catches the rising sun, turning into rainbows that vanish as quickly as they appear. At sunset, they glow with warmth, as if the sky itself is pouring down the cliffs. They belong to all hours, always moving, always present, never holding on to what was. Some falls descend from the clouds, so high they vanish before they land. Angel Falls, a ribbon of water dropping from heaven to earth. Others span wide, like Dechen or Jog Falls, a curtain of water sweeping across the land like the hem of a storm goddess's robe. Yosemite, proud and tall, carving granite with eternal grace. Each waterfall is a monument, not to stillness, but to movement. Beneath every waterfall lies a pool, a mirror, still, deep, quiet. The contrast is divine. Above, wild chaos. Below, perfect calm. In that balance, we find harmony. Motion feeds stillness. Stillness receives motion. There is a lesson in every drop. Some waterfalls hide. They do not boast or roar. They whisper behind ferns, tucked away in secret places, found by those who listen carefully, and even there, in solitude, they fall with purpose. They do not need an audience. They fall because that is their nature, their calling, their truth. The waterfall is not the end of the river. It is a turning point. After the fall, the water gathers again, stronger, wiser, more alive. It flows on, carving deeper, traveling farther, and so it is with us. We fall, we change, we flow again. Watch the mist rise, those tiny droplets floating, upward like dreams or prayers. Water, always moving, always rising, falling, returning, a sacred cycle. A breath that never ends. And so, the waterfall is part of a greater story. A journey that begins in the sky, falls through stone, flows through earth, and returns again to the clouds. It is the earth's heartbeat, the voice of time, a poem written, not in ink, but in motion. When the world grows loud, find a waterfall. Let it remind you that grace can be powerful, that motion can be peace, and that every fall is part of a greater flow. You are not separate from this world. You are the stream, the fall, the rising mist. You are water, and you are free. Somewhere between heaven and earth, where the silence of the mountains meets the breath of the forest, a miracle repeats itself, endlessly, effortlessly, exquisitely. Waterfall, nature's most elegant rebellion against stillness. An eternal motion, a ribbon of liquid silk thrown from the cliffs, gliding through the air, carving beauty from gravity itself. The waterfall does not fall, it flies. It does not crash, it dances. It does not ask for applause, yet it commands awe with every drop. Each descent is a symphony of elements, air that trembles, rocks that echo, mist that weaves sunlight into halos. This is not merely water, it is light, breath, and rhythm, spilling from the hands of the earth. No artist could dream such movement. No sculptor could chisel such grace. Waterfalls are nature's choreography, grace in freefall, power in motion, surrender without loss. It begins as a whisper, a mountain spring, a melting snow, a cloud's quiet tears. Then suddenly, a leap, a decision to let go, and in that act of release, something divine unfolds. The giants of the world roar with authority. Iguazu, fierce and sprawling, a kingdom of cascades, a rainforest crowned with thunder. Victoria Falls, the smoke that thunders, where water falls like history itself, heavy with legend, veiled in eternal mist. And Gullfoss, in Iceland. A staircase of snow-fed force falling in cold brilliance into the mouth of the earth. They are cathedrals of motion. Temples built from time, water, and will, yet not all waterfalls shout. Some speak in whispers. Hidden among mossy rocks, tucked within forest folds, they murmur soft lullabies to the ferns and fireflies. Here the fall is not a display, but a meditation, a slow sigh of the earth. A moment so gentle it feels like time itself is exhaling. To witness a waterfall is to remember something we forgot. That beauty does not always need balance, that falling can be art, that the most powerful things in nature do not resist. They yield, they flow, they transform. Standing before it, we are humbled, not by its force alone, but by its freedom. Every waterfall has a destination, not an end, but a gathering. At the bottom of every fall is a stillness, a mirror, a quiet aftermath where chaos becomes clarity. From wild descent to perfect calm, the water shows us. What falls does not fail. What yields does not break. What lets go is not lost. And then, it rises again, lifted by the sun. It becomes vapor, cloud, sky. It falls once more, somewhere else, some other time. The cycle is eternal. The water never dies. It simply changes form, from sky to stone, from fall to flow. The waterfall teaches us that change is not the enemy. It is the origin of all beauty. Across the seasons, the waterfall wears many faces. In spring, it bursts with newborn energy, snowmelt and promise in motion. In summer, it glows beneath golden skies, alive, luminous, and free. In autumn, it wears fire, leaves ablaze, the air crisp, the water glassy. In winter, it pauses, frozen in place, a sculpture of silence and frost. Even in stillness, it holds grace. Around the fall, life thrives. Moss clings to wet stone. Rainbows bloom. From sunlight and spray, birds dip through the mist. And the air, it hums with energy. The waterfall nourishes all it touches. It doesn't ask who or why. It simply gives, and gives, and gives. As the day fades, the waterfall glows silver in the twilight, a final whisper of motion. Before night cloaks the land in hush, the stars look down, and still it flows, unconcerned with time, unbothered by praise, faithful to its path, devoted to its flow. And in that timeless rhythm, there is a message for us all. Let yourself move. Let yourself fall. Let yourself rise again. Do not fear the plunge. It is not the end, but the beginning of something deeper, something freer, something more real. You too are part of this motion, part of this dance. You are not outside of nature. You are one of its waterfalls. So the next time life asks you to leap, remember the waterfall, that fearless thread of silver, that wild streak of grace, and let yourself fall, with elegance, with trust, with style. Thank you viewers for watching Chili Crunch videos.